Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us at Dialog Insight this afternoon. We're here to review some of the work that our developers have been busy with over the winter. We've probably already seen some of this in our new spring release, and we're happy to have the opportunity to review it with you. I'm here today, my name is John Martin, and I'm here today with Allison Flero. Allison is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting, and since we have a lot to cover, we'll jump straight into it.
Great, so we're talking about the new releases, so we're going to start with the new message editor. As you can see now, we have a full screen editor, so you can concentrate on editing your message. All the options that you had before, like the ones on the left to build your message or the options to change communication type and publish, are still accessible. No options have been removed, they've just been moved around. The option to build your message, like images and layout blocks and content blocks, is still on the left-hand side. And now the options to change communication type and publish the message are up in the top right here in additional options. So if I click on that, they appear on the left-hand side. Now, if you want to edit the subject line or sender info, you just have to click on the text here at the top and it'll open up. You still have the personalization options on the right side of each field. So let's click to edit a box of text, and we can see the best part of this update. So notice how as I add some text here, it's adding it in real time over on the right. So we no longer have to make the message change in the pop-up and then save to see how it looks. You can see even if I put bold, everything changes here. So then when you're happy with your results, you can save and move on to the next block. If you do find this section where you're making your edits too small, you can make it wider by dragging this line over to the right or to the left to make it a little smaller. For anyone that uses the HTML templates, there isn't a big change except that the configuration options have moved up to the right-hand side, just like in the drag and drop. Now the last changes are on the Test tab. To maximize the space where the message is displayed, we move the test options over up to the top left menu right here. We have also added the mobile preview since mobile opens continue to be on the rise.
Yes, for those who are checking the statistics on mobile opens in your results section, you can see that pretty much across the board mobile is on the rise. Not just B2C as it, where it first started, but basically B2B and, other, communication types as well. Mobile is definitely on the rise, so something to keep an eye on. The new message editor is a bit of a time saver in that you can see your actions in real time, as you're making them. We're going to move on now and talk a little bit about personas. Segmentation, of course, is a very important thing in any email platform, and to help you with that, we've introduced the concept of personas where you can review your database, review your business and your goals, and create the right set of personas that you can then use to further target your messages and understand, the evolution of your database and how people move, potentially move from one persona to another. So Allison has a couple examples set up, and we're going to take a look at how that works.
Okay, so personas can be found in Configuration, Contacts, Personas. And you can see that I already have some personas created, but let's create a new persona by clicking on Create a Persona. So first you have to give your persona a name or a label and then add some criteria. So I'm going to click Next. So the criteria can either be from the profile, opt-ins, relational data, contact source, or geolocation, and you just drag it over to the right just like making a group. Once your criteria is set up, you need to specify how frequently you want your personas to be updated. So unlike groups where the contacts are calculated in real time, the personas are calculated at regularly scheduled times. So going back to the personas page, you can see I already have these 3 created. Just delete this one. So we have Mary, Jenna, and Henry. On the right side, you'll see how many contacts fit into my persona categories. Now, just so you know, for this demo, what we've used is age as the category, the criteria for these personas. So there are 8 contacts that fit into the Mary persona, 7 for Jenna, and 3 for Henry, and the rest are without persona. So now that we have the personas set up, let's see how we can use them. The personas can actually be seen in the contact profile, which means we can create groups that target like all the Marys, for example. So let's take a look at my persona group. So using the persona criteria from the contact criteria section, I just drag it over to the right. I can make a group that includes contacts who correspond to any of the selected personas. So if I select Henry and Jenna, or that correspond to all of the selected personas. So if I select both, they would have to meet both criteria.
As you consider defining personas for your database, it makes a lot of sense to review the information you have and combine it with the goals and the type of business that you're running, and then make the personas that make the right sense, for you. If you need help, our analysts and your account managers are standing by to help you, review things so that the personas, so that you can get the best of, impact from personas, in relationship to your marketing goals.
Right. So we can also use personas to insert dynamic content in messages. I have an example here with 3 blocks that will only display for certain personas. So these 3 blocks. If I click on this question mark, it brings me to the conditions editor up at the top left, and I can see that this content block will be displayed only to the contacts that fit in the persona of Henry. So this one is for Mary and this one for Jenna. And the last thing for personas is that we've updated the contacts results section, but we'll come back to that a little later.
I thought I'd also mention in personas that we're using an avatar style graphic, to describe the personas, but those images are something that you can control as well to help you make the personas that suit your business, or better define your description of the way you want personas set up in your database. We're going to move on to some things we've done in marketing automation. We've done some interesting tweaks there with respect to initiating automations with triggers and such. Allison will go into a few details. Just as a quick review of marketing automation, it's a very popular way of setting up specific messages or sequences of messages to be sent to different portions, of your database or different contacts in your database automatically. Because the messages and automations run all the time and automatic, they're a very efficient way to look at things and to use the marketing platform. Once set up, it doesn't take any labor or effort at all to send out the messages automatically. So we've had some of the ability to create automations based on various things, but the triggers allow us to create automations that run in real time. So we'll take a quick look at that now.
Okay, so we've added some options to launch marketing automation by a trigger. And a trigger means that an action has happened at the contact level. So for example, a contact was created, modified, or subscribed to something, or a contact has visited a certain web page. I have 2 marketing automation examples. The first one is a welcome email that I want to send when a contact subscribes by using a specific subscription form. Now you can see it's a simple sequence of messages. So let's click on the start to see the options for the trigger. So we've added the launch by trigger. Now in this case, my scenario is triggered by an action performed by my contact. You can see that when a contact opts in to this specific newsletter, and I can select any of my opt-ins or multiple, by using this specific subscription form, and again, I have more selection here, they will then be added into my marketing automation. The next example uses journey information as a trigger to launch.
Just a quick word on Journey for those who maybe haven't taken a full look at it yet. The Journey module is a way of adding some code to your websites that will automatically track visits from contacts in your database. So when we combine Journey with the new trigger features in marketing automation, you pick up some very interesting flexibility in how you can send messages to people who visit websites with the Journey code on it.
Right. So this time the scenario will be triggered by behavioral actions recorded by the Journey module. So for known contacts that have visited my demo website and landed on this specific page. So here's my website, and I want to find people who gone to this specific page. And I've selected after 1 day following the visit, but you do have other options like after so many pages or so many visits on the site. So that will get my contacts into my marketing automation. Also know that if e-commerce is available in your project, then you can also see abandoned cart as a trigger option. And the final improvement in marketing automation was done to the post-import launch. So we can now launch a scenario on a specific import. The option was there before, but it launched automatically on all imports. So now we can launch it on demand once the import is complete. You have the option to target all contacts in the project or those that were added through import or only those contacts that were modified after import.
Marketing automation is a very powerful tool, and we urge you all to take a look at it, and take a look at some of the samples and options you have to launch messages to your contacts. And of course, our team would love to help you with that as well. Just give us a call or drop your account manager an email. We're going to move on a little bit to groups with engagement. And again, this is a streamline of our user interface so that things are a little bit easier to get to. We have been able to create groups based on engagement before, but it was a little cumbersome, to get to. So we think you're going to like the new options to create groups with engagements.
Okay, so we're in the groups section, and I'm creating a new group for engagement. And I'm selecting the engagement option in the behavior section. Just drag it over to the right. And there are two types of engagement. We can use recency or frequency. Let's start with recency. So I want to find contacts that have not opened a message in more than 90 days. And I can also specify for which communication type. The other option is for frequency. So I can find contacts that have opened at least 10 messages, and that's different messages, not just the same message. And we can specify a communication type here as well. So I can select more than one by checking the box.
You'll notice there's a box at the top that says data has been compiled since June of 2016. I just wanted to point out that we've been tracking client engagement for much longer than that. But what we did in June of 2016 is we tweaked the way that data was collected in such a way that it is now available to this user interface to create groups based on engagement. So the history is there, going on a contact by contact basis, predating June 2016. But now we have enough data in the platform, and we have this new user interface where, where we've exposed those options to collect data. So when you want to re-engage with clients that aren't as active, or you want to do something special for clients that are very active with you, now we have those tools for groups with engagement right in the user interface. The next development that we've done is we've had import and export options in the platform for a long time as well. In the past, when you're setting up an SFTP import, that's been something that our team has been able to do for our customers. What we've done now is we've exposed user interface to that. So for those clients that are familiar with FTP servers and the setup required, we can now give you the tools to control your own automated imports and exports. So we're going to take a quick look at that and see what it's all about.
So the imports exports can be found in the configuration menu under import export. The first step is to set up the configuration for the SFTP server information, meaning the server where we will find the data. So either your SFTP location, or we can set one up for you to use. Then to set up an import, you need to define the type of import, set the path to find the file, and define the schedule. Once that's done, you need to map your file. So just like in a regular import, tell the system which column goes into which field. And you can also set up alerts to be sent to users once the import is complete or if it has failed. Next are the scheduled exports. And it's the same idea as imports. You need to define the path to deposit the file, set the frequency, tell the system which fields that you need to export, and again, set up alerts. So the last option in this section are the Dialog Insight log exports. Now, this is a more advanced option that exports the raw data for your contacts. So your contacts, mailings, messages, clicks, all sorts of things. Now, some of our clients use these exports to compile the information and make reports on their own end, but like I said, it's more an advanced feature in case you want to delve into the raw data.
Yeah, that's a good point, Allison. I mean, the export option is indeed it's raw data. So we of course have custom reports that we've created for some clients where we can look at specific information that we capture digitally and export it in a more usable way. So those options and reports are still available to you. Our team can help you with them. But if you do want to capture the raw data, it is your data, and this is a tool under which you can capture that and define how you capture it and when you capture it, all on your own. We're going to move now into a little bit of tweaking we've done in the contact results section. A lot of people look at the results and the reports that are available under the email send feature, but we do have a lot more in our results section under contacts. So we're going to take a quick look at the way you can review and monitor changes and growth in your database there. So Allison's going to show us a little bit about how that looks.
Okay, so in the results section under contacts, we have a lot of information about the contacts in your project. And we've updated the visual on this page and added some more details to explain what the graphs are about. This first table will be different for users that have a consent center versus those who don't. What we see here are contacts that have opt-ins, implied consent, no opt-ins, and contacts that are not eligible to receive messages. And if I click on this eye to see more details, I can see how many contacts fit into each of my opt-ins once the page loads. So I can see how many contacts fit into each of my opt-ins, explicit and implied. And note that anytime the cursor arrow turns into a pointer finger, you can click to see that list of contacts. So going back to the contact report, other graphs on this page include contact acquisition, opt-in sources, contact list evolution, opt-out sources, engagement, so opened, click-through, or no action. And then this is where the personas come back in the profile section. You can see used devices, the information about the scoring, and then information about personas again, so how many people fit into each persona.
So this is kind of a graphical way of taking a look at your database and, reviewing it, in, with regards to the setup you've done, the fields you have, and the communication types, and, the way you're using personas and so on and so forth. So it's just a way of slicing and dicing your database to give you a nice visual to make sure that you understand the evolution of your contacts. That's pretty much it for what we've done. We're continuing to work on the platform, so look forward to seeing more things come out from us shortly. At this point, we can open the floor to questions if anybody has them.
Okay, so we have a question about personas. Why doesn't the system tell us that certain contacts are not eligible? So it's just showing how many contacts fit into that persona.
Sure. I mean, personas are a way of looking at the database and, like I said, slicing and dicing your database to understand, what your contacts are doing or what kind of contacts fall into what personas. The actual sending information in terms of who's eligible to receive a message is available, but that's calculated once you use persona to make a group. So two are slightly different, but you can still see who's available to receive a message and who's not, based on the sending features or the sending details.
Okay, and the next question, how can we delete contacts that are not eligible to receive our messages?
There is a delete function in the platform. Basically, you can look at it under group and group update tools, but realistically, we recommend you do not delete any contacts in your platform. Anti-spam best practices, and in many jurisdictions, like here in Canada, anti-spam laws, the C-28 laws, they require that you keep a history of your contacts as well as when people opted in and opted out, from your communications. So to delete that contact would sort of expose you to well, it would violate the best practices across the board, and in many jurisdictions like Canada, it would put you, it would open you up to a liability that you don't need to if you hang on to the contacts. So although you can delete a contact, we highly recommend that you do not. Okay,
so the last question, for imports, can we do imports without connecting to an SFTP?
And the short answer is yes. We haven't removed any functionality from the platform at all. So new information can be imported through the standard CSV method that's always been available. The SFTP is just a way of, perhaps helping you automate things to, streamline them from a labor perspective so that things happen automatically. Of course, once you do set it up to happen automatically, you also remove some human error from the equation. information, and that tends to make digital data a little bit more reliable. But the other methods, CSV imports as well as manual imports, they're all still available to you.
So that was the last question, John.
Okay, well, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. There will be a digital recording of this circulated to those who registered for the webinar, and we're very pleased to be working with all of you, proud and pleased to be working with all of you, and we look forward to hearing from you in the future. Let us know what you think about all these updates. Thank you.